Hey friends, how's it going? It's Dr. Dre with the Better Way MD TV, and welcome to my 60-week video series where I teach my friends that are menopausal and perimenopausal how to lose weight for good. Now, as you know, over the last couple of weeks, we've really been focusing on our feelings or our emotions and kind of processing those feelings and emotions and looking really at some of the negative ones that a lot of us struggle with. And we will continue this work throughout, but as I mentioned last week, I want to pivot to really addressing some self-care and self-compassion. Because sometimes when we're doing this feeling work, it can really get tough if we're not eating to buffer, and it can physically kind of feel a little bit tough, a little hard. Now, of course, that is one of my thoughts, but I think a lot of us have experienced like when we've given up our buffer of eating and then you're having to feel all the stuff, whether it's good or bad or positive or negative, and it can be kind of overwhelming. And a lot of us have noticed that when we've stopped eating, we've turned to some other buffering behavior. So I want you all to be aware that that might be happening. You might notice that you have maybe a glass of wine a night where you just have one on the weekend. Or maybe you've noticed that you've had to really amp up your Amazon buying, or you've decided to get new clothes or new makeup, or there's lots of things that you can buffer with. Like you could buffer with social media or just being busy and doing more work and adding things to your to-do list. There's so many ways to distract us from feeling our feelings. But I want to encourage you to really practice feeling your feelings and then use some self-care and self-compassion to help you so that you don't buffer with anything else. So I think when you hear the word self-care, we automatically go to like getting a mani-pedis or something like that. And I really want us to kind of focus on some other things because there are 5 or 6 things that I think that you should be doing every week to help you in your self-care and self-compassion. And so the first one might surprise you, but I'm going to recommend that you hydrate with water. And no, I should do this because I'm not really encouraging you to use any certain water type. But I do want you to practice being very well hydrated and well hydrated with water. Because when you're not hydrated, you tend to feel physically yucky. So I get headaches, I get sluggish and tired, and I just overall don't feel well. My skin gets really dry, and I kind of get a little foggy. So I always tell myself, if I'm not feeling well, the first thing I need to do is to drink water. Now, how do you know when you're hydrated? Well, you can calculate it. You can take your ideal body weight divided by 2, and that's approximately how many ounces that you have. So if your ideal body weight's 130 pounds, you divide that by 2. What is that? 65 ounces of water. So that requires looking up your ideal body weight, and to do a little math, I just suggest that you start with aiming for 64 ounces of water. And some days you're going to need more. So if you live in a hot climate, you'll need more water. If you're doing more exercise or doing more things, you're going to need more water. So my gauge for how much water I need is to shoot for 64 ounces, but really use my urine as a gauge. So if your urine is pale yellow or clear, you're well hydrated. You really don't have to push any more water. If your urine is dark, you need more water. This past weekend, I was in Las Vegas, and it's so dry there that I noticed it was really tough for me to drink anything other than water and stay hydrated. Now, I have lots of clients that tell me I hate water, or I can't drink water, I don't want to drink water, it tastes bad. There's lots of things, and I understand. I was right there with you. For many years, I was a camel. I would not drink a whole lot of fluids, especially a lot of water. And water's not my first choice. I mean, I would prefer to drink probably almost anything but milk above water. But I do know that it's important for my health and it's important for my self-care. So I make it a priority to drink water. Now, if you absolutely cannot drink water, then you can add like a little squeeze of lemon or lime, or a little orange twist, or a little orange squeeze. But look, don't make your water sangria, okay? You don't have to load up on stuff. Don't flavor it with a bunch of juice or anything like that. And really, if you're in the habit of drinking anything sweet, you need to get out of that habit, because sweet is not water. If it's sweet, something's been added to it, and it's definitely not water. So stop. Now, you might say, but come on, what's wrong with an artificial sweetener? And in the big scheme of things, drinking one every once in a while is not a problem. But if you get used to drinking sweetened beverages, even if it's an artificial sweetened beverage, your brain senses that as sugar, and you can still get that dopamine rush. So try to back off of that. And then also think about your poor kidneys. Your kidneys work to clear all the toxins out of your bloodstream. And, the kidneys need a bath too. And you wouldn't bathe in sweet tea, so don't bathe your kidneys in sweet tea. Use that water. Okay. Self-care number 2, and that's rest and sleep. And they're a little different, but let's talk about sleep first. I want you to really aim for at least 8 hours of sleep. And yes, some people can go on 6 and some people need 10, and you probably know where you fall. But just remember that if you get less than 8 hours of sleep, the literature tells us that your ghrelin levels go up, and ghrelin is the hormone your body makes to tell you you're hungry. So if you want to spend your life being hungry, then spend your life not getting enough sleep. And I also want you to make a distinction between how many hours of sleep you need and then how many hours you need to survive, because a lot of us have lived our lives just surviving. So shoot for 8 hours. Now, I know you may be like, there's no way I can do that. And I do understand, but I'm going to have to give you some tough love. I'm an independent OBGYN, full practice, get up in the middle of the night, deliver babies, take call. I'm chief of staff in my hospital. I'm president of my practice. I have 2 kids, a dog and 2 rabbits, and a husband. I'm also on the board of directors for the hospital. And I have a private business, a weight loss business. And I manage to get almost 8 hours of sleep every night. So if I can do it, you can do it. Figure it out. Now, sleep is different than rest. Your body also needs rest and recovery time. So I want you to practice the next week, spending at least 10 minutes a day. And this is really hard for a lot of you. Spend 10 minutes a day doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just sitting on your bum, doing nothing. It's much harder than you think, but you need it. You need the rest, and you definitely need the sleep to help repair cellular damage, i.e. the damage that happens to your cells that causes dementia, cancer, and disease. And your brain needs the rest. It needs it to process all of the information and to file it away. So, water, sleep, and rest. Third thing, exercise. And I know I haven't really said a whole lot about exercise, and I plan to do a whole thing on exercise, just like I'm going to do a whole video on sleep, because I also realize that being menopausal, we have disrupted sleep. But let's talk about exercise. You need exercise. You need exercise for your heart health. You need it for your mental health. And it really helps your body to function better to get up and move around. So plan a little exercise in your day. And it doesn't have to be a full-out workout. You can walk, you can dance, you can swim, you can do whatever you want, but move your body a little bit in the day. And let's say you don't exercise at all. Start slow. Do some yoga, do Pilates, do some stretching, do some strength training, do a little exercise. All right, fourth thing, connection. Humans need connection. I want you to plan into your week at least 30 minutes to an hour of connecting with somebody that really builds up your energy. So maybe it's your best friend. Maybe it's your daughter. Maybe it's one of your coworkers. Set aside some time that you can spend with them just connecting. Can be over the phone, can be face to face, can be on Zoom. Get creative, but get connected. All right, fifth thing, you want to lower your cortisol levels. So let's talk about some ways to do that. Number 1, you can meditate. Number 2, you can get out in nature. Number 3, you can read. Number 4, you can hang out with your pet and pet your pet. My dog is a good cortisol level lower. And I'm going to show you my other pet later on. And her name is Soybean, and she is going to make her grand entrance soon. So, lower your cortisol levels. Do whatever it takes. Maybe you think meditation's not yours. Maybe journaling is your thing. Just whatever it takes to kind of decompress, which is different than resting and sleeping and exercising. Although a lot of people do decompress with exercise, and if you combine them both, great. But make sure you're getting in some stress relief and cortisol lowering activities. And then finally, I want you to figure out how to have some fun. And for a lot of us that are busy with families and work and pets and everything else, having fun is kind of not on that list. But I want you to think about something that you like to do. I actually love to dance. And when I say dance, I mean I do like to boogie dance, but I also like to do ballet and tap. And so I look for ways to do that kind of dance. And also ballroom dancing, which is, it can be hard. But I do look to try to do at least an hour a week of something I like to do. And you'll have to figure out what that is. Maybe it's an adult coloring book. Maybe it's a craft. Maybe it's putting together a puzzle, or having a game night with your family. Or maybe it's just sitting on the couch and watching Netflix cheer. Whatever it is, find something that's fun that you like to do and really plan it into your week. All right, so I want to recap. I want you to take care of yourself, and the way you practice self-care and self-compassion is to understand that there are certain things you need to do to make yourself healthy. Number 1, drink enough water that your urine is clear. Number 2, sleep enough, i.e. 8 hours, to lower your ghrelin levels. Number 3, exercise. A little bit a day can go a long way. Number 4, use some form of cortisol lowering activity. Meditation, yoga, petting your dog, whatever it is, get it done. Number 5, have some fun. Really get out there and try to have some fun. And plan all these things in your week, because if you don't, I promise you, you won't get it done. All right, so this week I'm giving you permission to take care of yourself. You take care of everybody else in the world. Now it's time to take care of you. All right, and I want you to take care, and I will see you next week for week 26.